Released on consoles July 16, 2020 by developer Atmos Games and developer and publisher Serenity Forge, Neversong is an action-adventure platformer that kept me invested to the very end. Thanks to Serenity Forge for the review code.
Yikes! Is that Simeon?
Neversong follows the story of Pete, who fell into a coma after his girlfriend was taken. After waking from your coma, you start out in your hometown, Red Wind Field, as your adventure takes you all over, from cemeteries to an asylum. You must figure out not only what happened to your girlfriend, but the cause of all the weirdness taking place. The adults seem to have disappeared, only to return as either hideous creatures or knife-wielding psychos. The children also seem to be exhibiting odd behaviors as well, with a cynical, better-them-than-me attitude.
Holy sugar! I swear, I feel 10 times more powerful.
There's a mysterious man named Dr. Smile who seemed to be at the bottom of all this. With very little to go on, you and your pet bird set out to unravel the darkness that has taken over your town.
Quick, use that bat to get me out of this cage.
The visuals are beautifully done. Neversong sports a lovely hand-drawn cartoon-style aesthetic. The world of Neversong is quite a sight to behold. The environments, the backgrounds, the odd characters you meet along the way, it all comes together to help bring this unique title to life.
Anyways, dude, once I figure out how to get down, John and I are heading to the cemetery.
And though Neversong has that cartoon kid-friendly look, it most certainly is not. While there's nothing here that you would need to hide from your child, Neversong does in fact have a subtly dark and mature undertone.
See, you are just the appetizer.
What this dark implication is left completely up to the player to decipher, as it is never thrown in your face in an obvious and blatant manner. To the very end, many may be asking themselves, what was the message here? And while I'm certain the creators of this little masterpiece had their own intentions clear from the get-go, it's definitely left to individual interpretation. So thumbs up on the twisted story.
That silly man is just a doll! You're just in time for nightfall.
The audio is spot on. We have text and voice acting. And the voice acting is top tier. This is what I'm talking about. Story-driven games like these require vocals, properly executed vocals. Audio plays a key role in bringing visual stories to life, and the devs did not drop the ball here.
Gumboysa mentioned finding 3 sleeping monsters. I hate to say it, but I think we need to wake them up to find Ren.
The soundtrack was also incredible. With a soundtrack like this one, with these expertly acted vocals, and all the other atmospheric sounds included, Neversong ends up being one of those titles you'll never put down till it's done. That brings me to the duration. Neversong is another play it to the end in one go, should you feel inclined kind of experience. I ran through Neversong in somewhere between 4 to 5 hours.
This Speak and Say is getting heavy. I'm dropping it.
Other than the platforming and adventuring aspects, Neversong has a puzzle element. These puzzles aren't light or heavy. They hit that sweet spot by dropping just in the middle. You may meet up on a few head scratchers, but nothing that a little extra brain power coupled with persistence won't get you through. The puzzles, or any part of Neversong for that matter, is never spelled out for you. There's minimal hand-holding here. Sometimes an NPC will give you hints, but you're not going to see prompts all over the screen hinting at what should or could be done next, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You may have to take a break, clear your head and return fresh, but all these quirky puzzles are solvable, given the right amount of effort.
You won. Oh, I'm devastated.
The platforming had its annoying moments, especially when swinging, but I won't fault the game for this, as I don't truly believe this was a fault. I can't say how better the devs could have handled this. It's just a generally annoying thing to have to do. Similar to swimming in games, no matter how well and refined the physics implemented are, a water stage will be forever annoying. I can't say the controls could have been tighter, more precise, less slidey, nothing. Sometimes swinging sucks, that's about it. And the way it was handled here was just fine, and never posed a real problem. Maybe I should just get good. Where combat is concerned, I would have preferred a bit more in the way of weaponry. All you have is a bat. Later it's modified, but it's still just a bat, and the modification isn't for combat. Based on what the mod is, it really should have made you stronger, but it didn't, which is fine. I'm certain the devs figured, based on the kind of game this is, no more was needed. And that's understandable, as although on the website it says you're up against hordes of enemies, you're really not. Combat is very light here, and clearly not the main focus. You can get by just about any of the enemies with great ease. Some you can just jump over, and they won't even turn around to continue the fight. And your life bar speaks volumes of the developer's intentions as well. For every 100 stars you collect, your life bar goes up one notch. I don't know how far it goes, but this makes for a much easier playthrough. The devs clearly wanted you to focus on the story and puzzles, not the combat. With that said, I still would have liked a projectile weapon. Doesn't have to be like Rad Roger's shoot everything to bits kind of projectile weapon, but I noticed something with the hit detection here. Several times when I moved in close to swing, I got hit. Now perhaps this is just me, based on the size of the characters, but either way, I would have liked some kind of projectile attack to pick some of these guys off from a distance, especially the flying creatures. So, Neversong isn't a difficult game. It was made to be intuitive and played to the end with little struggle. This can also be seen in the boss characters. They're all really easy and can be beat on the first attempt. This obviously depends on individual experience and skill levels, but I don't see any player with even moderate skills struggling too much with these boss characters. Even the final boss was a cakewalk. As you progress, you may stumble onto collectibles. These are completely optional and adds no real value to the experience. You may collect one that says you will grow wings and start thinking, I now have the power of flight. But no, settle down. These are all just cosmetic. You will have slight upgrades along your journey. I use the word slight because they're technically upgrades but basically not. You'll get items such as an umbrella, which allows you to glide and go higher. You'll get a skateboard and some gloves as well. These items are there for a Metroidvania kind of vibe, where you meet up on a section you can only pass with specific items. So yeah, they are upgrades, but since they're really just there for specific purposes, I'm going to say not really. Where the song in the title comes into play is with the music you collect from each defeated boss. You get a song, you bring it to a piano, play it, then another part of the house that you started out in opens up. This is where you get your additional items, a fine mechanic and great for music lovers. To wrap this up, I'm going to have to say Neversong is one of the best indie games I've played all year, and I've played quite a few good ones so far. With beautiful graphics, amazing sound, great gameplay mechanics, and an entertaining and potentially thought-provoking story even if you don't completely get it. I'm going to have to say Neversong is certainly one of 2020's indie gems. The story left me asking myself questions like, did Pete ever awake from his coma? If so, at what point did he really leave it? What really happened to his girlfriend? Whatever happened, which is hinted at, how exactly did it happen? Was Pete the villain all along? Was this entire experience taking place in his mind during his coma? I could play smarter than thou and act like I figured it all out. But I won't and I didn't. It left some cliffhangers. But this again isn't necessarily a bad thing. Neversong is a brilliant work of art that should be experienced by all. This is my review, my opinions, but ultimately your choice. Neversong, formerly Once Upon a Coma, is available on Xbox One, Switch, Linux, iOS, PS4, Mac, and PC, so almost anyone can get in on this, and you should. AAA games are all well and good, but many times if you'd like a truly unique experience, one off the beaten path, then the indie scene is where you want to be. Show your support for independent game developers. Most if not all indie games are priced relatively low. Some are even free with the option to donate, so there's really no reason to pass. Thank you for watching. If you like my content, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if I pissed you off for some reason. Then we all know where to find the various hate buttons, don't we? Either way, I won't hold it against you. Our game is never over.
Dearest diary, my sunshine, my dancing princess of feminine mystery is still missing. Ren, where art thou?